Welcome back to another episode of Right Here in Mass. Joining me today is Kristen Reed, the founder and CEO of the sought after health and wellness practice, Nursing Your Way to Wellness. Kristen provides personalized health and wellness coaching, renowned wellness programs, corporate and workspace wellness, and keynote speaking to help others feel their healthiest and be their best from the inside out. Kristen, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ashley, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with you as well, since we've known each other for probably a few years now at this point, at least. I feel
Yes,
like I've watched from the sidelines your progression with your business. And so I'm so excited to have you share that with our listeners here today.
thank
And
you.
that is where I'd love to start, is have you share more about yourself and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited to just share more. So I'm a board certified health and wellness coach, a board certified registered nurse specializing in holistic medicine. So, I like to say it's like the art and science, that perfect combination to get my clients really transformative results with the science of like medicine and pathophysiology and chemistry and hormone health for my perimenopause, menopause clients, which is super important. Ordering lab work, interpreting lab work. So all of that, but combined with just as important, the art of habit change, habit formation to really help things stick. And my motto with my clients is all about small, consistent habits that get good big results that last because I want to meet you exactly where you are. I don't want to just force you to eat chicken and broccoli in a bubble and work out 2 hours a day. Because let's be honest, nobody wants to really do that. And I want to like live a fun life. And so I'm all about meeting you where you are and practical changes that really get to the root cause of issues and give you a life that not only feels good, but really expands how much you're able to show up in your whole life.
Yes, I love that. And of course, you are a nurse by trade. And so I'm curious to hear what encouraged you to then start your health and wellness coaching practice.
Yeah, I've had quite the journey. People always say I should write a book. Maybe I will one day.
You should.
Okay, so I have been a nurse for about 17 years at this point, and I actually am from Ohio. So I started my career at the Cleveland Clinic, and what drew me to nursing was really caring for people and really just meeting them at their lowest moments and being able to have an impact on their nutrition, their health, their wellness, which is very similar to what I do now. So I came from a family of nurses that was very natural for me. And I'll just take one step back. What I initially went to school for was physical therapy. I was getting my doctorate in physical therapy. Ironically, I was the only one in my program who didn't have a personal story for why they were going into physical therapy. And then on a long weekend trip whitewater rafting, I broke my back.
Oh, no.
Had to go back to the PT I had trained under and rehab for a while. And just kind of my life flashed before my eyes. I rehabbed for a while, relearned to walk. The program was very rigorous. I would have to wait the 3 full years to go back in. So I went into nursing because it was had so much of what I liked in PT with caring for others and the really robust connection of a holistic wellness, mind body connection, and all of that. And so I went into nursing from that accident. It was the best thing I ever did. So that's where that's where it led me.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And especially because you took a really difficult and low moment and found a way to bring light into it and find something
Yeah.
that was good out of it. And now it's
hmm
almost like one of those things where it's like, well, if that hadn't happened to you, do you still think you would have pursued nursing? I always wonder about that, like the butterfly effect
Yes.
ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much about PT and nursing that are so similar. I'm
Hmm.
not sure what would have happened, but I always think like there's a plan, there's a greater plan than what we might have chosen. And so I feel like I am and I was at that moment right where I was supposed to be and kind of guided in that direction. And I couldn't feel like I'm more in a place that was meant for me right now. So I feel like my all my journeys led me to here and grateful for that.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to hear at one point in your nursing career that you became open to the idea of becoming a health and wellness coach and how that kind of came about with now then starting your own business.
I had always been interested in health and wellness from an early age. People would make fun of me. I'd be the one eating salads when everyone was eating pizza. I remember sitting at my high school cafeteria table reading the Zone Diet because Jennifer Aniston was on it, and with my like rolled up turkey rolls and like, and but I loved it. I loved eating healthy. It felt good. I was always very interested in it. I was, taking the Beachbody classes back in the day, Taibo. I mean, like you name it, I had tried it, but I loved it. And I was like that, I was the N of one experiment. So the interest of that, then I was doing bedside nursing again, starting at the Cleveland Clinic. I just saw more and more that I was able to educate and support my clients on a deeper level, but I
Mhm.
wasn't given the resources or time or opportunity to do so. And so over the years of I became a travel nurse, I traveled all over the country. I just had this calling and this push to really do more to prevent people from even coming into the hospital. And once they were in there, that I could support them in such a bigger way than just kind of handing them a few prescriptions and saying good luck because I was being rushed out the door to admit a new patient. So
Mhm.
that was really the final push to take that big leap of faith to start my own health and wellness practice. And the best decision I ever made because it was a huge success pretty early on. I mean, of course, I had my stumbles, but it felt so aligned with me that I could take my time to just have clients and the autonomy to educate them, support them, dive deep into root cause, nutrition, mindset, stress management, all the things, and do so much more for them that
Mhm.
that I couldn't do in the hospital.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And so, what led you from Ohio to Massachusetts?
I had gone through a very painful divorce,
Mhm.
and I had taken about a year and a half to heal from that. Was finally felt like I like had my feet underneath me again because that was a completely unexpected experience and very traumatic. And one of my best friends at the Cleveland Clinic at the time said, "You should try this thing called travel nursing." And
Mhm.
I was like, "What the heck is it?" I had never heard of it. Within a day, I had talked to a recruiter who I loved. She was like a mother figure. And she said, "Where do you want to go first?" And I said, "I've always heard really great things about Boston. I've never
Mhm.
been there, but I'd love to start there. Didn't know anyone or not much about it. And within a few weeks, gave my notice at work, packed up all my belongings into a storage unit, left with two suitcases and a dream on my heart, and left and went to Boston on this journey to just sort of live my life, travel the country, just kind of do me,
Mhm.
really focus on like myself. And then ironically, right when I came to Boston, my now husband was the first person I met. At that time, he was the
No way.
landlord at the building that they had stationed me at. And he had stayed late because the road trip took us longer than expected. And he opened the door and said, "Welcome to Boston." And I was like, here I am on this mission to just be, do me and just, live my life. And I was like, who's this guy? Long story short, we were very professional and he was very helpful. He, kind of showed me how to use the tea and would like, tell me which restaurants to go to and different things. And then I had moved out of the building and my agency put me in another place. And he said, "Now that you're not, a tenant in my building anymore, can I take you out to dinner?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, you can." We fell in love quickly and hard. And I just said,
Oh,
"Listen, I am going to stay true to what I'm doing, which is traveling the country. I hope you'll stay with me and this will work, but I understand if you don't want to do it." And we made it work. And it was a
yeah.
testament to how strong our love was, we'd meet halfway. He'd come to wherever my assignment was. We made it work. And then eventually I got offered a permanent position back in Boston. It was good timing. I took it. We found an apartment together in Southie, and the rest was history. So it was the best of both worlds. I found my husband when I least expected it, and the universe was kind of nudging me. And also, I got to fulfill my dream of travel nursing and getting to experience all different patient populations and areas of the country. And it all worked out.
Absolutely. And then being able to get offered that full-time position and permanent position at Boston.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a dream. It was a dream come true. And I was like, yes, I can't say yes fast enough.
Totally. And are you still nursing today?
I resigned from the bedside nursing. I was at Brigham for a while,
Mhm.
in the neuro step down, the neuro ICU step down, and then I created the wellness program there, which
Mhm.
was a big feat. So I had started approaching leadership pre-COVID, and there wasn't a ton of buy-in. Then COVID hit, and we saw with the pandemic the real need to invest in nurses and the whole hospital staff, really. And so our very first Wellness Day program that we put on, we initially had it just be for nurses, and then that day we had the room filled with our neurosurgeons sitting next to our nurses, sitting next to our medical aides, sitting next to our housekeepers, and we saw right away. I just remember getting full chills with like the soothing music in the background, and the lavender diffuser, and I was leading them through a meditation, and we just thought everyone needs this. And so it
Mhm.
grew and grew and grew, and I was so proud of that offering to support people's well-being at a time that was so stressful and chaotic
Mhm.
and very unknown. So anyways, that I grew that program, and then I resigned and passed the torch to my other fellow nurses so that I could just take my practice full time and only have one job.
Yeah.
And then I had my daughter, so it all worked out so that my practice could be flexible to raise my daughter and not have to do hospital hours and weekends and
Right. Yeah. And I know you did juggle both nursing and nursing rate of wellness for a little bit. And so a lot of our listeners are kind of in that similar space where they're juggling their full-time role or even sometimes part-time and also building their business. And they're kind of in that space of like, well, how do I
yeah.
transition out of this corporate job into my own gig? And so I'm curious to
Mhm.
hear what your journey was like to get to that point, to be able to resign and focus on nursing your way to wellness full time.
I love this question, and I do actually some wellness business consulting as well. And this is what I tell clients is I'm a big fan of keeping your corporate job while you're growing your business. If it feels to you like you're able to take more risk, put yourself out there more, and not be in a scarcity mindset. Because the worst thing we can do is quit our corporate job before we're quite, you'll never, I don't like to say ready, we'll never feel ready, but before,
Mhm.
a little prematurely. And then we are in such scarcity mindset of like, we're graspy, we need a client, we need income, and we're desperate, and that energy comes off and people see that. So I'm a fan of keeping that job for a little bit, whatever feels comfortable for you. For me, I had the goal of once I was on maternity leave with my daughter to be able to resign from maternity leave with a certain level of income, and then that stability of knowing I didn't have to go back to the hospital after I had her. So that was kind of my
Mhm.
benchmark, but I think it's really helpful to have that steady paycheck to give you the confidence and the cushion to be able to show up as yourself, show up in service, talk about how you can support people and help them, and not be from a place of like, I need money, I need clients, whatever the nature of your business is. But that I think was really helpful for me to ease into it. And then as my practice grew and grew, I knew that I had the confidence, the skills, that no like trust factor at that point to be able to resign and comfortably make it work and not be afraid of it failing.
Absolutely. And I wonder too if, like, since a typical healthcare schedule might be like 12-hour days or including weekends and stuff like that, I imagine
Yeah.
that probably provide you with some flexibility in terms of being able to run both at the same time and
Yeah.
having days open during the week for your practice.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I did a lot of 3 to 11 p.m. shifts. So I would
Hmm.
see clients from 9 a.m. until about 1 p.m., rush downstairs, change into my scrubs, and then drive to work until, yeah, so it was a grind. It was hard,
Hmm.
but the work, I'm so passionate about it and I love it so much that it didn't phase me very much until I kind of resigned and only had my practice and realized it was a lot. But again, it helped me to have that vision and that lens of like abundance, and that I can serve people and I can do both rather
Hmm.
than having to feel like I am so afraid of what if I can't, you know, reach a certain amount of clients or a certain amount of income. And it served me really well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I imagine too that there's that full circle moment now because now you're going back to hospitals and giving keynotes and helping to
Yeah.
lead sessions that I've seen. So that must be a
Yeah.
really like just awe-inspiring moment to be like, wait a second, now I'm the one coming in and like giving these talks compared to being the nurse who's in the seat listening to the talk, so to say.
Yeah, thank you so much. It is definitely full circle. You said it exactly right. It's very inspiring. I'm very humbled to be able to do that. So to go in and do things like, consult on a wellness programming, give speeches, give talks and help corporate leaders and hospital professionals and then nursing staff because I've been there.
Hmm.
I've been in their shoes. It gives me a unique perspective to be able to have the health and wellness coaching now that is so refined and robust, and to also know how it feels to be a nurse who's working 12-hour shifts or a nurse leader who is trying to manage, burnt out nurses and a lack of retention and declining numbers and things like this. So it gives me a very unique perspective that I really enjoy being able to go in and serve them that way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'd love to, dive into like how you support busy professionals specifically, because I feel like just from conversations I've had from friends and things I've experienced myself, that sometimes as busy, high achieving professionals, we can neglect our health and our wellness and our self-care because
Yeah.
we view it as sacrificing success, so to say, which of course is the total opposite. But I'd love
Yes.
to hear how you work with people like that who are leading busy careers and busy lives, and but still being able to prioritize their wellness and health and everything that's important.
Mhm. In working with busy, executives, business owners, business leaders, a few foundational pillars of mine is that self-care is not optional. It's part of the plan. And number two, that health is wealth, and we cannot view them as one or the other. Like my business thrives or my health thrives, because I
Mhm.
see over and over again, and I experience this as myself as a business owner, is when we, hustle and grind in our business and we neglect our health, everything starts to fail. And if you have ever been really sick or had a negative diagnosis or anything like that, you realize nothing else matters. Like, not
Mhm.
the success, the accolades, the money, the clients, the whatever, because if you don't have your health and your mind and all of those things, it doesn't matter. And so
Mhm.
we really need to prioritize health as number one so that we can show up as our best self, as the executive, as the business owner. And that mindset shift can be tricky for some people. But once I have clients that are in it and they're seeing the success, they're feeling so much better. It's like an entire life upgrade. Now they're showing up better. They're taking the chances in their business. They're asking for the whatever. They're asking for the job. They're asking for the promotion. They're just taking bigger chances because they have that confidence. They feel so good. They show
Mhm.
up bigger and brighter, and that is so fulfilling for them and for me to see.
Definitely. And it's like as cliche as it sounds, you really can't pour from an empty cup. So like if you're
Yeah.
not focusing on what you need in order to have your health and wellness to be able to do the things like you said to succeed, then it's not going to happen. It's not going to be sustainable.
And to your point, and depending on what line of work you're in, so much of what we're doing is mental and mental health, right?
Hmm.
We're seeing clients all day. We have to have capacity and focus and clarity, enthusiasm, all of these qualities. And if we're eating, a bunch of processed food and not getting good quality sleep, and our health is suboptimal, that shows in how we're only able to fake it for so long to clients. And
Hmm.
so if we want to really show up for our clients in the ways that they deserve, we have to be that example to take care of ourselves first.
Definitely. And that alludes to what you mentioned earlier. A big part of your work is helping clients build healthy habits. And so
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear more about that with busy professionals specifically. Like, what habits would you recommend they really focus on and prioritize?
I always say food is foundational. Food is first. We can't
Mhm.
outrun. I know you're a runner, Ashley, so we can't outrun a bad diet. We can't out supplement a bad diet. Food is foundational. So let's get the basics down first. I have something called my healthy plate template. So it is a kind of mix and match template for busy, executives, business leaders, business owners to make their lives easy. So this means that most meals we have a protein, a fiber, some healthy fat, some greens, or some kind of vegetables in there. So I don't really care as much about what it is, but that you have those four components. And the key here is blood sugar balance. I talk a lot about that. It's not sexy. It is very necessary and really gets us the goals we want, which is the mental focus, the clarity, the energy that's sustained, fat loss if that's a goal, or weight maintenance if that's a goal, um, inflammation, disease mitigation, longevity, all the things we really care about. So the healthy plate template for most meals, and I say most very intentionally because I want you to go live your life. Like if you want that dessert at that steakhouse for your business dinner, great, get it. Or you want to like have, Saturday night like on the couch watching your favorite shows and like some snacks, great. But that most of the time you are nourishing yourself and we're focusing on nutrient dense foods. So we
Mm-hmm.
are trying to plan ahead. I would say preparation is queen. So we're anticipating we're going to a work conference. Do we kind of know what's going to be offered? Can we bring a few snacks? Like we'll be on a long car ride. Is there something we can bring in the car? Like we're always anticipating where we might struggle or kind of be stressed out about something and be able to fuel ourselves and not be forced to say, oh, I have to go to the vending machine. I have to stop at McDonald's, whatever the case may be, because it's all there is. So really preparing
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, focusing on nutrient density, not restriction. Like I'm very anti-diet in my approach. We are focusing on what we can add more of, more nutrition, more nourishing foods, especially when I look at lab work, perimenopause, menopausal women, for example. Like we're really looking at how can food be really medicine for us? So how do we
Mm-hmm.
fill up those buckets of different nutrients that we need and be intentional about the food that we're choosing because it can make a big, big impact the quickest. That's the quickest lever we can pull. So once we have the foundation of food, we go to things like sleep. I mean, sleep is another thing. If you're not sleeping well, your quality and quantity of sleep, again, we're kind of like, running on fumes there. And I equate it like if you have a Ferrari and you're putting, premium fuel in there, right? Versus like, the lowest grade. That's exactly what the food and the sleep are, right? So we've
Mm-hmm.
got to be able to recharge ourselves. That sleep regularity studies are showing is so important so that we're going to bed at about the same time, waking up at about the same time. And for most of my corporate clients, that's something that we can do because they have a regular schedule. So we take advantage of that as well. And then
Mm-hmm.
we look at things like mindset, we look at movement, exercise. How are we moving our body? Are we sitting in a chair all day? How can we bake in little mini 10-minute resets throughout the day? I can make it work with anyone. I've had clients come to me so many times and say, I'm going to be a hard one, or this is going to be, I don't know how I travel, weekly, or I'm like in the Middle East once a month, or I work a 9 to 5 desk job and I can't get up and do anything, or, all the reasons and quite frankly, excuses because we all
Yeah.
have our things, right? If we're being brutally honest, we all have our things that appear to be challenges, but I am always a smile on my face saying, I've got you. We have a plan.
We
We have
will
a way
find a
to
way.
we will find a way. Exactly. We will find a way to make it work. And again, to meet you exactly where you are. So we're looking at food as foundational, sleep, mindset, stress management is a huge one with my corporate clients.
Mhm.
Again, small little habits. And I'm talking like 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how much time we have, that become these baked in routines that just become habits, habit stacking, putting them on something. Okay, we're getting up to go to lunch. We packed our lunch. That's our healthy plate template. And now we're doing some mindfulness, or we're,
Mhm.
writing out like our to-do list, or, different practices that just help us manage our mind and not just robotically go through the busy days to where so many of my clients feel like the days just fly by. I don't even know when I would work out or when I would, whatever the case may be. And we're finding pockets of time that make it work. And then those move the needle more than people think they will. 5 minutes counts,
Absolutely.
10 minutes counts, they all add up.
Yes. And I love the part that you mentioned specifically about habit stacking because I feel like as women, we always tend to gravitate towards the idea of multitasking. And so being able to
Yes.
just group things all together at once, I think is key as you shared. And so I love that tip
Yeah.
because it's great to feel productive, but then also do something good for your health as well.
Especially as we're adding in new habits, new healthy habits, because again, I'm all about adding it in, is we have to habit stack because
Hmm.
otherwise it just feels like more on your to-do list. And the last thing I want
Yeah.
for my corporate clients who are already like have their, 37 item long to-do list is to add four more things to it. So I'm saying, okay, we're going to add this to this pre-existing habit. We're going to add this to that. And so it makes it almost, dare I say, fun.
Yeah.
Um, but what is fun truly, Ashley, is seeing the momentum they gain from these tiny habits and how
Hmm.
powerful they can be. And then they're like, oh, I feel so good. Now I want to keep going and like give me more of this, please. And that's when the magic starts to happen. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. And speaking of, like you mentioned earlier, the part about how people, when they're busy and don't really prep, I love what you shared about preparation is queen, how people can kind of like tend to default to like vending machine stuff or having unhealthy lunches because they just don't have time to prepare. Like, what are some go-to lunches or snacks that you like to recommend to people during the day when they are busy and need something quick, but will sustain them and fuel them as they need?
Well, I'll start. I love this question because I cover this all the time with clients. And again, I'm always thinking of a personalized approach. What do you
Hmm.
like? Like, let's start there. What do you like the most? Because that's going to be the lowest hanging fruit, so to speak, and the thing that you're going to actually want to eat. So, where do you like and what do you dislike? Is there something that you dislike? Okay, we're going to take that off the plate altogether. So, what do
Hmm.
you like, and how can we make that portable and hopefully something you can keep at your desk? Keep at your wherever you are stationed. Some of the things, and like I have right next to me in my desk, if I didn't have my blurred background, I'd show you. But um, some of the things that I recommend the most are like clean meat sticks,
Hmm.
packets of nuts and seeds. So I have like packets of pistachios, for example. I don't
Yep.
know if you can see these, packets of pumpkin seeds. Like these are all really great options for clean, quick fiber and protein packed fuel. We still want our snacks or mini meals, I sometimes call them, to be sort of based on the healthy plate template. So we want them to be some source of protein and then ideally adding in some fiber and fat as well. We want to avoid the processed carbohydrate refined sugar trap, which is most of the snacks we think of, which is why I don't love the word snack. So granola bars, crackers, all these, protein washed, green washed snacks that like say protein, so we think they're healthy, right? They're just
Hmm.
essentially a bunch of processed carbohydrates. So back to the options that I like, packs of Trader Joe's has really great packs of olives, like in little vacuum packs. Um, those are sort of non-perishable options that I love. Protein bars get tricky. They're so processed. There's a few you can get away with, but I just say instead of a protein bar, have the clean meat stick with like your pack of pistachios. That's like a
Hmm.
great option for you. That's way better for you, way less inflammatory, and you don't get all the junk in there like the additives, preservatives, words you can't pronounce, etc. Then we look at perishable items. So if you have a fridge, which I hope you do, if you don't, you can pack a little fridge, I'm sorry, a little cooler. Don't pack a fridge. A little portable cooler. Then we think of things like little individual packets of like hummus and guacamole and like cut up vegetables. We think of like hard-boiled eggs, string cheese, leftovers, cut up fruit, berries, yogurt, cottage cheese cups. So there's so many ways we can get creative. I have a good protein ball recipe on my website at nursingyourwaytowellness.com. Those are great non-perishable items you can keep at your desk and they're delicious.
Hmm.
They taste like dessert. So we're thinking of ways to get creative to, again, prepare. We always have something on hand. You never want to be caught empty-handed. You never want to be caught hangry. Your meetings have gone over. You're now like I have nothing at my desk and now again I'm kind of my back's against the wall because
Hmm.
your blood sugar is dropping. Nothing good comes from that. They always say nothing good happens after midnight. Nothing good happens when you're hangry at 3 p.m. with nothing prepared. So perishable and non-perishable options, those are kind of my go-tos. Nut butter packs. So again, they can taste really good. And because how they make you feel and they uplevel your entire health and well-being, you're more apt to say more of this. Like let's go on
Totally.
this trajectory. And then you have the you binge the bag of cookies or you have the fast food on your way home and clients, this will happen a lot and they'll say, "Oh, I feel so sick." my stomach is hurting, I feel awful. I'm like, that is exactly what we kind of want to happen because your body has become so accustomed to having this really nutrient dense fuel to help it run like the well-oiled machine it was supposed to. And now when
Hmm.
we introduce all these inflammatory seed oils and processed foods, our body's kind of saying like, no, 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 go back to what we had before. And so it's often like I often kind of like it in a sense because it shows them like you're feeling really good. Like stay on that trajectory, stay
Hmm.
with fueling yourself really intentionally, and the reward is far worth it. So
Yes. And I love what you mentioned at the start of that, which is like start with what you like, right? Like, why force yourself to eat
yeah.
something that you don't enjoy just because it's good for you? I mean, why not start with the things that you already love, but just find a way to have a sustainable and healthy version of it?
And I'll just piggyback on that and say there's so many trends and fads now with you
Hmm.
being the social media expert. Like, I mean, social media is just rampant with like, eat
Hmm.
this, not that. Here's this. If you don't want to eat cottage cheese, don't force yourself to make all the cottage cheese junk that they're showing you, like cottage cheese chips, cottage cheese bowls with sweet potato and ground beef, cottage cheese. Just don't do it. I don't like cottage
Hmm.
cheese, and that's okay. And so I will never like try to force myself because it's trending and it's high protein. Just because it's high protein doesn't mean it's the best option for you. Yes, I'm a huge
Mm.
proponent of protein. It's thermogenic. It keeps us satiated. Building lean muscle mass. It's all the things we want, especially midlife women. But if we don't like it, then don't force yourself to go there. And one last thing for things to bring for lunch, I'm a huge proponent of leftovers. I think it's the easiest
Hmm.
thing, especially for my busy corporate clients, busy moms. You're already packing up dinner, or I'm sorry, cleaning up dinner. I always say make double batch of dinner and pack in a glass Tupperware container some leftovers and have that be your lunch for the next day. And that's just the simplest, easiest way. Again, we want to kind of remove all the barriers, keep it simple. So that's one of the ways that I love to ensure you have a lunch that's there. It's cost effective. It's certainly supporting your health goals. It decreases food waste. I mean, so many good things there.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who's listening to this episode who's like, I need a Kristen in my life, how can they get started for working with you?
Yeah, so sometimes people say, "What the heck's a health coach? What do you
Yeah.
do?" And again, are you going to make me eat like chicken and broccoli all day? The answer is no. So I offer free consultation calls because I want to be able to. I love chatting with people. I want to be able to tell you how I can support you, and most importantly, hear all about you and like hear your
Hmm.
goals, hear how you're feeling now, where you want to be, how you want to feel, like what are your goals and how can I support you in those? And then I share options to work together and all of that. But I just love chatting with people. So they can book a complimentary consultation call on my website at nursingyourwaytowellness.com. Pick a time that's convenient for you. And I'm always happy to just chat and help people however I can, whether that's private health and wellness coaching, referring them to a group program that I run
Hmm.
a few times a year. I have those, or maybe it's a corporate wellness programming or things like that. But there's an option for everyone. I also have a membership that's very cost effective monthly, community support. And so there's options for everyone, again, to meet you where you're at and depending on your health and wellness goals.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
for a fun question, what are your favorite local businesses to support?
I am such a fan of supporting local businesses, especially local women-owned businesses on the
Hmm.
North Shore. I'm based in Linfield. I see clients all over, but in Linfield, North Shore, I love Soul Bean, which is a like health-based food store, but it's delicious. So smoothies, acai bowl, sandwiches, soups, everything is made scratch. Two of my favorite gyms or workout centers is Vault in Linfield by Meg Caprio, A Mom's Village by Elise, and that's a really popular award-winning gym in Peabody. Um, there's so many great places by us. We're so blessed to have. I feel like I could go on and on, but I have a friend Lee who owns a massage studio called Wellness by Lee. Um, there's just so many great options and I'm always happy to support local businesses and also welcome in the new ones that are coming in and opening their doors to us.
Amazing. Absolutely. Kristen, this has been such a fun episode, and I really enjoyed having you on the show to share everything that you've been doing at Nursing Your Way to Wellness. And I know you just shared the information with our listeners about how to get in touch with you and reach out, but I'd love for you to share that info again so that way they can have it.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I appreciate you. So my website is nursingyourwaytowellness.com. Nursing for me being a nurse. And social media, Instagram and Facebook at Nursing Your Way to Wellness. And then again, the consultation call can be booked there. I'm very active in Boston Businesswomen, which is where I met you. So
Mhm.
I'm sure a lot of your listeners will recognize me there, and I'm always happy to chat with them there as well. So
Totally. And I will link to all those places in the show notes that our listeners can click through and connect with you from there. Thank you so much again for coming on today's show.
thank you, Ashley.